would do EVOS Holy 2-0 over Homeboys.
Homeboys still missing something fundamental that'll allow them to stand on the global stage, but it is a new roster, so they'll have the time to figure that out. But congratulations to EVOS Holy once again, demonstrating that you do not necessarily need the experience of being an MPL or even MDL squad to truly have hidden potential worth respecting on the global stage. Erlan especially on this Granger. I mentioned it, Homeboys might want to contest it, but they didn't. And they ended up with a 12-0-5 main core on the opposite side.
Yeah, I mean, Erlan's KD is essentially 20-0 over in this entire series, right? An average of 10 kills per game, if you put it that way. But also, if people think that Ivan's a support, I mean, Reggie has 19 assists. He has the most assists this game out of everyone else. Got 25 kills to 14. This game slightly faster than the first by 4 minutes-ish. But Homeboys, again, came so close but just could not find a finisher.
Yeah, I gotta give props to Gojes. The fact that he was actually winning a lane against a glue at one point is worthy of praise. And the damage that he was doing, the efforts that he was expending to try and turn team fights around are very commendable. It's just that, again, this glue is such a good final pick. It just gives EVOs everything they need, while knowing that Homeboys have no way of countering it, even if it maybe didn't do as well in the early game. Once mid comes around and Homeboys doesn't have their burst, it just runs around without a care in the world.
Yeah, the fact that he just beat a glue with a Phobius, right? Of course, there are compounding factors, you know, level lead, but I gotta say, Gojes, despite losing this series, he is solid. He really felt like you put him in that side lane, he is that Mr. Reliable. You don't have to worry about him, he always makes things happen.
Yeah, I think Izanami also tried to do what he could. There was a really nice stolen way of the dragon to make something happen, and Soul actually did scale up into the end, but EVOs just felt like a much more complete team overall. We get to see a little bit of that classic Albert that we know and love on the Hayabusa, 9 kills, very good damage, but it is literally half of what Erlan ended up doing. 139k DPS total in the game, 946 GPM. This is the star of EVOS Holy this series.
Yeah, Erlan is just straight up, he is farming records, he's farming heroes. The fact that, I mean, game 1 he survived an essential dive comp, right? Like his essential Joy, Farsa, Irithel. Game 2, he was untouchable. It was, I feel like there was no point in time in the game. The closest one that they almost got him was when Escalera found that Flicker Raging Sandstorm, but even then, Erlan didn't go down.
I think EVOS Holy's formation lends itself very well to them. They are so good at keeping the front and back line in form, so that it's very difficult for anyone to try and jump onto Erlan anyway. Not to mention that Homeboys, unfortunately, never really tried to go for that. There were a couple of attempts to maybe like come in from the back line, but I once again feel that Khalid Rome is lacking something a little bit in the current meta, and I don't feel like Raging Sandstorm ever really did anything the whole game. So if they had something else, something that was more capable of setting up and diving, then maybe it could have been better for them. But since they didn't, Erlan just goes all the way right into their base.
Yeah, ending the game with, again, another flawless KDA, 72 kill participation. Not to mention that the positioning of Erlan is just phenomenal, right? Like, he always finding the right spots, and didn't really have to do too much. They didn't have to do anything fancy. I think that's the right word for it. It's just textbook MLBB, but more than enough to get the win.
I think what we're seeing from this is that EVOS Holy is just specialized in playing that textbook MLBB while adding a small little bit of spice to it. Their hero pool is good. They know what they're like effective at doing, and they're able to pull it off most of the time. There were definitely mistakes here and there. I think Deposit being caught out and then them stacking together for the damage in that second to last Lord fight made the game last a few more minutes longer than it needed to, but they were still able to compose themselves and do what was needed to take the win.
Yeah, absolutely. And there were also some moves from Homeboys that I think deserves credit, right? Again, the catch on the deposit at the Lord fight, and some great initiatives. And Escalera, he had some brilliant moment despite airballing a lot of Raging Sandstorm, but those that connect gave Homeboys an opportunity. But it always came down to moments where we got the catch, but we just don't have the damage. And I think an early bot lane fight that we just saw in the replay proved that they got a pre-buffered Raging Sandstorm on a quad Shadow Albert and still couldn't get the finisher. And the rest is history. EVOS Holy and Homeboy started getting scrappy, but the lead that EVOS had was just too much.
Homeboys did actually have a chance of turning it around after that fight, right? They got the lore, they pushed in, got multiple, like almost every external tower that EVOS had left. But then for some reason just decided we're going to stay on their half of the map for a little bit longer. I guess to try and steal some farm, but EVOS are so good at running you, splitting you up, and then picking you off one by one. And that's exactly what happened. And then Homeboys just threw away any chance of victory that they could have earned again.
It's pretty unfortunate, right? And all these small minuscule moments. Of course, special shout out, I think, has to be given to Ivan, right? Game 1, we saw that Matilda really come into play, but even on the show, which, at every turn has been kind of pressured by that Phoveus, he has got some pretty nasty, kicks and Jeet Kune Do knockups. But at the end of the day, we also have to look at Albert on this Hayabusa the entire game and how he's been maneuvering around the map.
I think Albert is playing a very traditional MLBB here on the Hayabusa. It's obviously risky for him to try and invade and steal camps when he's up against a Suyo, who definitely is a little bit more effective currently. And because his team gives him so much freedom to move around, it takes so long for this glue to be dealt with, if at all, by the Homeboys, that Albert can just take his time in every single team fight. He can slowly decide, okay, when's the best time for me to quad shadow in, when's the best timing for the Ogi shadow kill. And that does make his job a lot easier.
Yeah, it definitely does. The fact that he can sneak into the back line when it felt like, Homeboys had it locked down airtight is pretty impressive as well. Most of the fights this game has been happening on the bottom side of the map, as you can see on the heat map.
Like, the bottom half is where a lot of objectives ended up spawning, so it's understandable that that's where a lot of fights ended up happening as well. EVOS just seems to be very good at holding these team fights together. I think we gotta keep an eye on that going forward, because it is starting to seem like a potential team specialty here, and the way that they draft always supports that as well. The fact that I missed the glue, the fact that Homeboys missed the glue, is something that will need to be reviewed going forward, because if they didn't have to deal with that, then I think the game would have been a lot more even overall.
Yeah, and it really shows that this hero every now and then still gets overlooked, considering that we literally have Glue being first face pick. Back in M6, right, we've seen Kid Bomba being one of the few players that really puts this Glue in the forefront of the draft. So perhaps, heading deeper into the into this SPS, we are going to remember the Glue a lot more often than we usually do.
I mean, whenever you pick Phoveus, you gotta worry about the glue. It is the most obvious counter. So again, I'm really surprised that it slipped my mind, that it slipped Homeboys' mind. I'm not gonna live that one down. But Homeboys will have to live with that defeat, because they will now have to hope they're able to make it through the last chance qualifiers to qualify for the challenge finals, while EVOS Holy will get to sit a little bit more comfortably waiting for who their next opponent is going to be in the upper bracket.
Yeah, and they only have one out of two choice, right? It's either you fight Team Flash KH, or you fight the runner out of the M series, which is Team Liquid ID, which also will be our upcoming match. It's gonna be Team Flash KH and TLID. This one is gonna be a doozy, because we got some heavy hitters, of course, on the side of the Cavalries.
The cavalry themselves is going to be interesting. Onyx still seems to be in fighting form, but you never can look down on the region of Team Flash. They got some wild cards over there that I'm sure everyone will want to watch, so make sure you guys don't go too far. We'll be right back.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming and DHL.
Cutie, dressed up and I'm glistening. I'm the gift, don't wrap me like it's Christmas. Want some yours, you'll know what you've been missing. Feeling like we should get into mischief. Listen, you've been looking like you're down on your luck. Need a girl like me to come through, lift you up. Hold me in your hand, I like when you touch me. Keep me around or you might get lucky. I'ma keep you with the good mood. Keep you up all night. Never, never around you. Baby, this is so vibe. Got me dancing like a soul train. Laughing the whole time. Got me singing in the shower. Baby, are you all mine? Baby, I'm your four-leaf clover. Your rabbit's foot, your charm bracelet, horseshoe. Baby, I'm your good, good omen. You wanna keep me with you. Keep me with you. Yeah, it's not hard to see. There's a pattern forming when you got me. 777 all wins, big money. The tramp over here never see me coming. I was in your back pocket the whole time. A quiet power, a silent gold mine, a big old confidence boost. You never delude. Just know that you'll be winning, cause I'm with you in the building. I'ma keep you with the good mood. Keep you up all night. Never, never around you. Baby, this is so. Got me dancing like a soul train.
eyes on me. People picking up my energy. The music never stops. They play my song on repeat, on repeat. I'm flying till I hit the sky. The melody is getting high. You know how to free my mind, my mind. When I'm with you, my world is golden, so golden. Baby, you make my heart shine golden, so golden. Feeling so alive, let's dance through the night.
The festivities continue here on day 2 of the SPS Season 6 MLBB Challenge season. And we're just about to enter our second match of the day to determine our final round 1 match from Group C, which will be between Team Flash KH and Team Liquid ID. Once again, my name is Stafford, joined by Husky to bring you all the action.
Another match where there is a clear underdog being represented and a clear kings at the top. In this case, the underdogs will be Team Flash KH up against the Cavalries of Team Liquid Indonesia. Runner-up of the recently concluded M-Series, falling to the Thunder Heroes in the finals. But still, nonetheless, a dang impressive run from MPL ID. 3 MDL players promoted from last place in the first 2 weeks to champions of the region and then runner-up of a world championship. Now ready to conclude that glorious pathway run.
Team Liquid ID is truly a miracle run that fell just slightly short of being the ultimate storyline, but still is a legacy to the world of what is possible as long as you have the potential and the belief. Their opponents today will be none other than Team Flash from Cambodia, consisting of ATM, Chama, Cray, Tai, and Aonzo.
It's going to be quite a challenge. I know we've seen the players from Team Flash KH plenty of times, especially for Shema. He was from Team Max, finished 7th in MPL Cambodia Season 7, but they're up against Team Liquid ID. We got Aran, we got Fabian, Yeheskiel, Widdy, and Aaron Shiki. I mean, after the run at the M-Series, I can't even say that they are rookies anymore. They are certified veterans, elites of the battlefield. Everyone with their own monikers just within the span of not even a year.
And there's a good mix of experience here on Team Liquid ID, but like you mentioned, Husky, many of these players were rookies just the last year. And in the span of just a few short months, a couple of seasons, they've shot all the way up to become royalty among the MLBB ecosystem. M-Series runner-ups is not a title that anyone can earn easily. And Team Liquid ID have done it despite being pretty fresh off the boat. You can see their performance so far throughout the Open Finals, even facing off against their own Academy team earlier in the tournament. And honestly, it just feels like a completely different team back then, right? They have grown so much between the Open Finals and the M-Series, and now they are one of the teams to take down.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when you look back at kind of the montage of their Open Finals run, and then you look at how they are now, it really feels like you know those videos you play back to to yourself 10 years afterwards. It's just like that recording, right? That growth of Team Liquid ID. If that was how they looked in the Open Finals, and you somehow went into a coma for 6 months, and you wake up and you ask, how is Liquid ID looking right now? Oh boy, you are in for a treat.
It actually is. Like, I don't think I could have described it any better than that, right? It just happened so quickly for Team Liquid. And they're not showing any signs of stopping, right? A lot of teams in the past who may have achieved success, maybe in their own MPLs, very quickly ended up dropping off because maybe they don't quite have the experience or the backing to really be able to handle those situations. But Team Liquid ID making it all the way up in the M series is just a different achievement altogether. Our predictions were different for game number 1, but I think it's expected that they're going to be the same for game number 2, along with most of the chat.
Yeah, I think 99% of people would definitely go for Team Liquid ID winning this. Although I know yesterday, some the casters from the ID broadcast had different predictions. So now I'm curious. I wonder if anyone predicted against TLID. No, not this game. Everyone went for TLID. It's good to know. So we're all on the same page.
Well, I think we can't completely count out Team Flash, right? Cambodia is one of those regions that's always a bit of a wild card on the international stage. You know, sometimes they don't perform too well, but other times they just suddenly pop off and you're not ready for it. So even though Team Flash unfortunately didn't perform the best in their own respective MPL, I'm curious to see what they have for a brand new year. And I'm also very curious to see what people think about the fact that the Snapdragon finals are going to be happening live and there's actually tickets available for them to grab.
Yeah, you can get them right now. It's limited tickets available for as cheap as 5 ringgit. Scan the QR code or buy now at esl.gg SPS MLBB S6 TIX TIX. So make sure you don't get any typos in. Buy the tickets. Come down to Johor once more. If you were here during the season 5 finals at Quo City Mall, you know how much of a festivity it can be. Well, guess what? It just leveled up. We're heading all the way to Johor. So Singaporeans, it's your time to come down. No complaints. Just the causeway.
I mean, we just had our MPL MY finals in Johor as well, right? And that was very, very cool. The reception was great. The crowd was awesome. The stadium was pretty big. There was a lot of room. So if you guys want to come by, tickets are super cheap, you know, and you get to watch international teams duking it out on Malaysian soil this time. So
yeah,
not an event you want to miss.
Of course, you also do not want to miss the jungler of TLID, which is Fabian. He recorded the most kills in M6 with 95, and this is just amongst the junglers, right? We're not including all the other lanes because then it would be unfair because Innocent would easily just beat everyone with his yearly stats. But of course, in M6, Fabian is the one who got the most amount of kills, and for a very good reason. He really has shown that prowess with the assassins. His joy is no joke. You can't mess with him, but also they have shown certain archetype of a deathball comp. We see them run the Claw Chip, Loi, even the Fredrin comp in the finals, and they just got joy.
Yep, giving joy over to Fabian is usually not the best idea. And Team Liquid also banned out the Suyo, so Team Flash don't even have the most common pickup to match up against it in the jungle. So they may have to consider going the Fredrin route that we saw earlier from Evo's Holy. But they will lock in the Cho. That's going to give them a good way of locking down this very slippery jungler.
That and the Loi. So if you want to play some macro game, the Loi is definitely going to be there. Again, Cho is still a flex pick as of this point. We've seen him be in the XP lane as a secondary roamer of sort. If you Team Liquid ID, there's the Matilda still left up. I know Widdy loves the Matilda. It's one of his signature pick. But also, if you want big setters, you can rely on Widdy to go for that too. The Bruno, in fact, is going to be the choice, and the Hylos to boot.
The Bruno has really not been popular ever since the challenge season started, despite being the hero pick that you had to contest during the M series. But still gonna be pretty strong, right? Once you get that Malefic gun, you are going to be pelting people from pretty far away for a lot of damage. They did reduce Bruno's overall range just a tiny bit, but he is still a very strong laner. And then the Alpha does eventually come out from Team Flash. It's the best option they have left against the Joy.
Yeah. Now going into the second ban phase. At least for Team Flash, they can start looking at a mid lane choices, right? Like the Hescu's hero pool. You can start banning out the Sicilian, which is one of Liquid ID's comfort picks.
The Sicilian not going to be available, so they want to make sure that TLID can't play the similar style that they did in the past. And I do like that TLID will ban the Matilda as well. You don't want to give away the Alpha Matilda combo. It doesn't really matter whose hands it's in. It's so potent and not difficult to play at all. Instantly snowballs the early game for you. Let's see if they continue focusing onto that mid lane dominance. Lo Yi gives you a lot of pressure early on. And wow, they get rid of the Xavier too.
That's a deep pocket ban. We saw Liquid ID pull out the Xavier in the M Series Swiss stage. So it is something that if you're not paying attention, you probably won't think about it. Speaking of which, they also had the Hilda is still up, but now that there's the Alpha, probably not the best choice. Another pick that Liquid ID has really shown every now and then in the M Series, or I think alongside RQ, is the Belleric, right? Like it's a pick that started by Team Spirit, and then it started popping a lot more. Oh, you get the Jaw Hate ban. So Liquid ID, they are definitely kind of clamping down on the Romero despite having a Cho on Team Flash KA's side.
Yeah, they're just making sure you won't have a Jawhead and Cho combo, in which case Joy just doesn't get to play the game, right? Cho is already a bit hard to deal with. You don't want to add more onto that plate. And while Belleric is something that TLID likes to pull out from time to time, it's usually in response to a Joy. So since they're the ones playing it instead, I doubt they'll be going for it. They do lock in the Farsa, so still making sure that they've got that artillery fire on their side. And now they are going to be looking for either a Roam or EXP, depending on where this high-lows goes.
I mean, this Khalid got taught, the usuals. What else? I mean, you could... The Tigger is still up. So they go for the Khalid this game. Feels like there's a chance that this is a witty Khalid. I know he plays plenty of that Khalid roam.
Well, I literally just said earlier that I'm still not the biggest fan of Khalid roam. I think it'll be a lot more effective on a team like TLID, who is already known for being a bit more aggressive in the early game. I think the best way for a Khalid roam to work is to instantly disrupt the jungle at level 1 or 2, but you also don't really want to do that against an Alpha.
Yeah, that too. See, Team Flash KH, now they get to reveal this last card, right? It's gonna be a gotcha pick.
Let's fight to our heart's
So it's kind of up in the air. The Luca is completely let through, so it's going to be the Lucas XP for sure.
Lucas has been very hit or miss so far in the challenge season. In the right hands, an absolute pain in the butt to deal with. We saw Kirk just being an unstoppable frontline for Onyx yesterday. But for players who may be less experienced or in the wrong team compositions, he really doesn't end up contributing very much. So let's see if Team Flash can make it work. Him alongside the Cho and the Lo Yi actually adds a good amount of crowd control to Team Flash to play around with. So it could be what they need to maybe slow down Fabian.
Yeah, and it also is kind of a good way to get to this Farsa, right? Like once you stick onto the Farsa, I think you can just blow up your HQ with the amount of gap closing and damage that this Lucas provides. So let's see Team Flash KH against Team Liquid Indonesia in game 1 of this best of 3. We've got TLID blue side, Team Flash KH on the red.
Yesterday, when we interviewed King Kong, he said he wanted to meet TLID again, and I would imagine that Team Liquid feel the same way. So a victory here will be very important to instantly qualify into the challenge finals. And I'm curious to see how the early game will go as well for them. With this Khalid, which I've already expressed some doubts about, we can see that he's already playing quite aggressively on Team Flash's half of the jungle and leaning towards the gold lane since he's not going to be able to invade against Chama.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, Fabian and King Kong. Liquid ID and Onyx Philippines, really good friends, but of course King Kong's objective is just to beat Fabian again for the 100th time, which has been the case since the M Series. They had this love-hate relationship. We've seen plenty of contents around that. But I do like how Team Flash KH, they're trying their best at least to keep up with the rotation, though they would run into Fabian in the mid lane.
Whoa!
Yehescu picks up a first blood.
I think this is something we've been seeing from a lot of junglers in the higher level squads, where they just suddenly rotate through the mid lane when you least expect it. Because roamers and mid laners will generally try. Oh, Fabian actually stole that from Sebuah. He's not level 4 yet.
That is going to be unfortunate. But silver lining, Shema is still going to hit forward when the turtle spawns. Bad news is that he's going to be a level behind Fabian. He's going to get the purple buff. He's not in a rush in any way. Bot side, Lucas getting gone on ATM, forced to retreat. No level 4 for him, and because of that recall, he's going to miss that entire wave as Weedy soaks up mid side to get closer to his ult. He's going to hit it. Does have the quick send guard to soak up the... And the chill also falls. Raging Sandstorm does miss, but Witty doesn't really care. ATM in the Sacred Beast form will not be able to catch up. In fact, they use the Loyal diversion onto Aran, who has to revitalize, so he will be fine.
They were definitely hoping to catch Witty with that diversion, but instead it was Aran, and Eonzo actually gets picked off by Aaron, Shiki, and Fabian in the gold lane. So Bruno is already projected to win lane against Moskov. Now it's gonna be even worse.
Yeah, in that short span, we've already got 4 kills for Liquid ID. ATM trying to jump into Yehescu. Glorious Pathway laid out by Aran as well. ATM.
Shockwave!
The turret snipes to Yehescu and gets out with his life.
Yehescu definitely forgot about the beast mode ult for Lucas for a moment there. If he had flew away just a little bit further, it would have been totally fine. But then suddenly that shockwave flies out, bursts him, does just enough damage. Because surprisingly that... Oh, Chima?
It does hurt, just like Chima feels the pain. And Fabian not in just yet. So this is a 2-level lead for Fabian, and it is still growing. He's gonna try and steal this camp away. Tai.
Ooh, good kick.
Flick a kick onto Fabian. Pulled back by the duality. He still dashes away in time. ATM has no ultimate to catch up. And Yehescu takes care of Tai. Unfortunately, Aran will zone out ATM. This is just a scrappy fight. Cray uses the diversion to try and catch Fabian, but he gets caught himself. Yehescu cashes in on another kill.
I like the initiative by Cray to see if he can catch Fabian there, because a kill onto the Joy would be very nice here, but ends up not achieving anything and even throwing his own life in the process. I think he should have stayed in the bush and just recalled instead of trying to walk out. But Team Liquid already with a 3,000 gold lead in 4 minutes.
Yehescu, he's gonna rotate up to the top side. Eonzo will get out. And ATM, he's now top side. Sacred Beast form. Gonna go for Aaron Shiki. The shockwave connects, but the damage is not there.
I'm so impressed by the mechanics from Aaron Shiki there. He was straight up being surrounded and cut off from his team by ATM, but he just times his dash perfectly so that he's able to walk out fine. Like, Team Liquid showing us why they are the N-Series runner-ups here. Team Flash trying to go for aggressive plays, trying to find pickouts wherever they can, but the EXP and gold difference is already leagues apart, and we're only 5 minutes in.
Almost a 1k gold lead per minute average for TLID. Lane swap will happen. You can see Cray will come in with a diversion. ATM turns to the Sacred Beast, takes the ball in the face and ends up going down. Tier 1 turret destroyed by Aaron Shiki. And now the King is online. Tai, the next target on the block. Double kill for Aaron Shiki. Yehescu cashes in onto Cray. And Chima is also dead. Triple kill for Aaron Shiki.
And 4-0 on the Bruno Berserker's Fury in 5.5 minutes. I think the game is a little bit over.
I hate to agree, but yeah, I think this game is close to being done. But Aaron is not done just yet. He is proxying waves to get the mid tier 1. ATM now is gonna be in the red zone. If Team Flash KH, they just don't have any space to breathe. It's a 7.5k gold lead, 6 minutes in for TLID.
Normally having a 1,000 gold advantage per minute is already an insane lead, and Team Liquid is actually further ahead than that. I have not seen this for a very long time. Team Flash does still have tools to play aggressive, but they're going to be lacking on items and damage quite heavily. Even the diversion with 3 members to try and catch Aaron Shiki, and he's already aware of it and dashing away. Like, Team Flash, their lineup really doesn't scale too well into the late game. Only Moskov, really. And that's if Aonzo was actually farming okay. I think we all know he is not farming okay. So, Team Liquid, completely in the driver's seat.
This is gonna be pretty tough for Team Flash KH. I mean, that goalie is still ballooning. And if he also wants to farm, tough luck, he's not gonna be able to get much space. Aran and Aaron Shiki are gonna show up top side. Meanwhile, the Lucas is just not having a game at all. ATM, he sees all these members, he's opening up the map, but there is no way for him to have any impact as of now.
Yep, and another turtle goes over to Fabian. Team Flash cannot hold any presence on the map right now. Diversion aggressively, they're looking for Aaron.
Aaron Shiki isolated, but not anymore. Witty with a flicker, Raging Sandstorm saves him, and Yehescu gets a double kill. Fabian finds the cash out onto ATM. And Team Liquid ID have a 10k gold lead in 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, at this point, we just have to avert our eyes because this is no longer safe for children viewing, you know? It is such a one-sided massacre, even more so than we saw from Onyx yesterday. I have literally never seen an 11,000 gold advantage at the 8-minute mark. Just look at the difference in items. The cores on Team Liquid are nearly completing their third. Team Flash, some of them don't even have their first.
This is we're teetering on the edge of witnessing a little war crime by TLID. This is this oppression. Like, what do you do, right? TLID, they're not gonna clear the waves. If you want the wave, you gotta walk out of your base. So good luck on doing that if you're Team Flash KH. They are just boxed in.
Fabian even went for a Holy Crystal as a second item because he's just that rich, you know? You usually would get that as a third item. But hey, when you're this far ahead, why not? Oh, Wishing Lantern on Joy! Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, Fabian.
You don't have to do that, Fabian, but sure. Might as well. What's next? Concentrated Energy. Genius 1. You know, we go back to the old Joy playbook.
Just get a second Holy Crystal.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's just do that as well, you know?
I almost died trying to kick him. Fabian.
Okay, they got him.
Die.
Actually punished.
Woo.
Actual karma at play for once.
I tell you.
At this point, what do you even do? Like, you finally got a shutdown on the enemy Joy, and it barely made a dent in their 10k net worth difference. It's just... It's a little bit disappointing.
At least it's not 11k. It's a 1k goal swing. What, the law was stolen by the Spear Destruction? What?
They did! Oh my god, wait! Wow, okay.
Alright, that's another 1k goal swing. We're making progress.
It's slow but steady, right? You gotta commit to the... Uh-oh.
Oh, we go. Weedy almost got him.
I was close.
I mean, TLID just pump the brakes a little bit. I think they're definitely having a lot of fun, but 2 unfortunate events in a row. Now we get a bit of a quick reset. Even with that lore steal, it is still an average of almost 1k per minute for TLID in terms of their net worth advantage.
Even after a shutdown on your jungler, the lord being stolen somehow, that's Fear of Destruction. I don't even know if Aonzo intended to do that. He just like threw it, wondered, okay, let's see if this will do anything, and they actually stole the lord. If Team Liquid got that lord, they could have ended the game. Like, Aonzo with that play legitimately saved Team Flash a little bit longer.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like an instant replay, because a run blocked it, and I think the splash damage still got the lord. Maybe because Aaron Shiki like aggro it outside, but still, Liquid ID very far ahead, and Witty just got a 4-man set. That is just annihilation. Who cares about the lord, right? He just wipe them up. So that is going to be triple kill for Fabian as Team Liquid ID wipes the floor with Team Flash KH. 11 minutes into a game, almost a 14k goal lead. This game is done and dusted. TLID with game 1.
They're called Team Flash because that's how quickly they disappeared in that base fight right there. Team Liquid They're showing the world why they are M-Series runner-ups, why they were so close to earning the champion title despite being a lineup composed mostly of players who were still rookies at the start of 2024. They are titans, they are the elite, and they are here to steamroll the opposition unless you have some way of stopping them. Team Flash, I really don't know what they need to do for game number 2 because this is not a bad draft. You can make things work with this draft. There is just a notable difference in gameplay here.
Yeah, this feels like, you know, this feels like purgatory if you are Team Flash KH. I think coming into this matchup, I feel like if you are a Team Flash KH fan before the challenge seasons and after witnessing the M6 run, like the perception change is gotta be drastic, right? Coming into this knowing that you are outmatched just based off sheer statistics and having to experience it in the flesh, oh boy, they have a lot of work to do.
They have so much work to do. I want to provide some analysis here as to what Team Flash could do going into game number 2 to stand more of a chance to maybe claw their way back into this game. But there is a fundamental difference here. Like I would say, like go back to pocket picks, but I don't really know too much about Team Flash to say like whether this is a pocket pick in the first place. You want to try and play a bit more traditional. I feel like TLID will have some solution for it anyway. Yehezkiel sold all his items and bought immortality at the very end just to add insult to injury. Is like, yeah, you know?
Yeah, unfortunately it's one of the few matches where it's just a walkover, you know, like no amount of miracle can bring Flash KH back. There were some moments, right? Big shutdown to Fabian, very wild steal by Aonzo on the Lord, but it is so minuscule in the bigger picture. Like the game still ended with a close to 14k goal advantage for TLID. So, and yeah, King Aaron Shiki is our MVP of this game. He has 4 kills, and funnily enough, all 4 kills were in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, after that, he just never got a chance again because the rest of his team decided, okay, Aaron, you had enough. The rest is us. 997 GPM on Fabian. I just saw that. Okay.
Yeah,
well, when you have Holy Crystal and Wishing Lantern before the 10-minute mark, you know, it's...
Yep.
Yeah.
It could have been higher if he didn't get shut down, but considering he got shut down, he still got 997. It's
It would have been 1k then.
It would have been 1k. Could have broken King Kong's record if he didn't go down.
This is just a one-sided steamrolling. TLID played that exactly the way they were supposed to. I expressed that I wasn't a big fan of the Khalid roam earlier, and I think Witty has showed us how it's supposed to be played. It is meant to create that pressure, create that snowball right from the beginning, and continue pushing it forward just with oppressive presence alone. He doesn't offer very reliable CC, but he does have the damage, so it's hard for people to walk up against him. That's what you need to be using. But Aaron Shiki, this man caught the eye of MLBB fans the world over throughout M6, and he is continuing to capture visions everywhere.
And it's not just that, you don't get the title of king easily, and then there's Aaron Shiki, who essentially just not only worked his way up, but in such a fashion that people started just naming him the king, and he's constantly proving that, right? Like, if not up against Kelra, people are looking at Aaron Shiki as one of the second in lines, and in this game, it's just a pure mechanical difference in that gold lane.
Yeah, there were situations where most other gold laners would have gotten ganked or killed, where it seemed like he was too far up in the lane, was getting cut off by heroes with CC, and he still times his abilities so that he's able to escape. It's just insane. It's on a different level entirely. You could see the way that Team Liquid takes their fights here. Even Yehezkiel just made a slight miscalculation, started flying away a bit too late, but they would have survived that otherwise. And then Team Liquid just keep on pushing the envelope. Everywhere you think, oh, there's no way they can like get another kill on top of what they have already, they do so.
Yeah, it's they just keep going. I mean, this entire game was incredibly scrappy. So it plays into what TRID wants to play, but also shows, answers the question of how do you keep pushing the envelope, right? You do it like this with the comp that is just so dominant. Once you get the snowball rolling, it felt almost impossible to forcibly pump the brakes on the TRID. And the only time that Team Flash KH ever got the jump onto Aaron Shiki, you still got Witty the Wise, who showed up and saved it.
TLID has very strong coordination and synergy, which is obviously a given and an expectation to be able to reach the heights that they have seen on the world stage, and it doesn't look like they've let up on that. I do like that Team Flash tried to play aggressive. Cray tried to use the diversions to catch them, but like just look at what happens in the base. The Flicker Raging Sandstorm hitting 4, and then Fabian just runs in like a meat grinder. Team Liquid ID are on path to sweep this series without a single problem, and Team Flash will need to figure out a way to stop them.
Yep. And unfortunately, I'm not sure if that is going to be possible in such a short time frame, but it's definitely going to be a case study for the rest of the teams that are going to eventually have a chance to fight TLID if they make it through to the challenge season, which right now, they're looking to have a dang good chance, right? Again, if they win this, they are going up against EVOS Holy. Can you imagine the nerves of EVOS Holy watching what has just transpired? Of course, the heat map of Fabian this entire game is just all over the place. Like wherever he goes, death follows.
Anyway, if I can't confirm this, but I also think this game might be the newest record for shortest game in the challenge season so far, because that's 11 minutes. Such a quick situation, and you can like even in this heat map you cannot tell which side of the jungle actually belongs to Fabian because he's so actively farming every single part of the map and getting kills everywhere as well.
Yeah, he is just so he's just so mobile, right? Not only that, like he doesn't need his own jungle at this point. He's just I think he's pretty much farming heroes. Look at like the amount of, he had more kills in the enemy base than he had on other parts of the map. I think that's just how dominant Fabian's game was.
I mean, the jungle just didn't belong to Team Flash anymore. After like the first couple of minutes, they couldn't even try walking in to get their boss because there was invasions happening. I still tried to make things happen, right? Because I like the diversions, though maybe some of them were ill-advised. So wishing them all the best for game number 2. But you gotta try to put a stop to Aaron Shiki, man. He's just so good.
Yeah, the Bulletproof Cavalry remained deathless in 11 out of 26 games in M6. And his highest count in a single game was only 4. 4 deaths! That's his highest. So he had as close as flawless as you can have, you know, in terms of a gold laner KD.
That really just is another level entirely, man. Like how do you even do that? How are you able to achieve deathless in almost half of your games in the M series, the World Championship? That just takes a different quality, a different confidence overall. And while his Bruno gameplay, like this is the first Bruno we've seen the entire challenge season, right? Yeah. It goes to show he's still a terrifying gold laner.
Definitely is. 100% pick ban rate, of course, in M6, and only has been picked once, which is today, what we saw just now by Aaron Shiki. Even though there is some minor numbers tweak onto Bruno, we still saw the full force once he gets a hit. You give Bruno that lead, it really doesn't matter what the nerfs they do to him. He will still continue to dominate.
100% pick ban rate in M6. The nerf definitely did affect him somewhat, not just to him as a hero, but also the adjustment to Malefic Gun. So he is definitely not as ridiculously oppressive as he used to be, but he is still very strong. Like his early game damage is good, his scaling is very solid, and when he gets Malefic Gun, his range is still actually very scary. It's still a lot longer than most other marksmen that do less damage with every single auto attack. So kind of surprised that more teams are not still prioritizing the Bruno.
Yeah, and I think especially when there's like this Granger matchup, right? We are looking at the Granger Harif most of the time. Moscow pops up every once in a while. The Irithel also started gaining a bit of popularity, but I'm glad to see Bruno back in a conversation, right? A bit more choices for that gold lane for sure. But I think if you are Team Flash KH, first of all, maybe not give the joy away. I think that was definitely kind of a bit of too much of an advantage, I think, for TLID, right? Now that the Suyo was banned out in game 1 and then they got the joy in return.
Thing is, they picked the Cho. They picked the Cho very early on, which should be a solid solution, and it's not as if they didn't have other forms of CC and frontline that forced the way of the Dragon out early. So I think there's a lot more that they have to consider here. And we'll see what kind of changes they can make, because now they are on the blue side, Team Liquid on the red side. Even Harif still going to be the bans for Team Flash.
So it's going to be the Tusin ban. This time Team Liquid ID will be on the red side of the map. It's going to change up the draft a little bit. It's going to change the sequence. Of course, Joy gets banned out by Team Flash KH after the game 1. Really don't want to deal with it again. Or will TLID ban the Suyo, right? Now that becomes the next question. Or they could potentially just... Are there any heroes that they're worried about? Granger? But they could take Granger. Like, Aaron Shiki loves that Granger when it's open.
Yeah, I think Team Liquid can afford to leave quite a lot open right now because they are on the red side and they can just grab 2. They are going to decide to ban out the Suyo, so just going back to the more classic junglers, we should see like Alpha, Hayabusa, and so on in this game. But Granger, like you mentioned, is wide open.
See, Team Flash KH, do they want to go for that Granger straight? Either that, and then you have the Harif and Bruno left for TLID. Honestly, for Team Flash KH, I feel like their hands are a bit tight, right? Like, pick a poison, because Liquid ID are going to get 2 power picks regardless. So Granger goes over the Team Flash KH, Matilda Alpha for TLID.
Oh boy. Oh boy, there it is. Matilda Alpha, one of the most oppressive roam jungle combos in the early game. So much damage built in, survivability, as well as mobility that allows you to engage and disengage freely, regardless of how aggressively you play. It is a perfect combo for a team like Team Liquid that wants to take advantage of opponents' early game flaws. Team Flash will go for the Hayabusa since a lot of the other junglers have already been banned out, but this is also a hero that can be pretty vulnerable in the jungle early, so they gotta make sure to have tanky front lines that work well in the early game to help deal with this Alpha.
So the Aurora is going to be that option, right, to try and pump the brakes on TLID if they fast. If it's TLID, I mean, there is still the Valentina up if they want to, but they'll go for the Lucas first, snatch it away early before it gets banned out.
Lucas going to be a very good team fight setter, solid front line, and we've already seen that the Shockwave can be a good way of sniping backliners, so that Granger has to be a bit cautious. But I really feel like Team Flash should have actually gone for like something like a Tigreal or like the Hylos, Hilda, get taught kind of style in this situation. As Liquid is probably going to start banning out these heroes that would stop them from being able to easily invade the enemy jungle. Yep, even a Jawhead taken out there.
Even a Jawhead ban. We're still left with the Gatot and the Khalid. Bruno gets banned out. A lot of respect to Aaron Shiki. So there's 4 of his picks removed, in fact. We're left with the Beatrix. There's still Beatrix, Carrie, Claude. Irithel is still up on the table if Aaron Shiki wants to consider that. But I think you're not really in a rush at this point of time. You can keep Aaron's pick for last if you want.
Yeah, I think Irithel is the most obvious counter though. The best solution for Granger, good range, good mobility, good burst damage. They go for the Vexana first, just play it safe like you mentioned, leaving Aaron Shiki's hero until the very last. It also means that they could pull out something a little bit more unusual if they wanted to. I don't really think they need to, but they can. The Carmilla comes out. No Cecilion combo though, since you're... Oh! I do like
The
that.
Badang. Okay, this is a Badang XP. So yesterday I was able to play a few games and with some of the MPL SG people. And they say the Badang has been popping up every now and then. I'm not sure if it was popularized by TikTok or not, but Badang Thunderbelt, every single basic attack, those punches, it triggers the Thunderbelt because it's like an ability basic attack, right? It applies the on hit. So you can stack up Thunderbelt pretty quickly, and Badang not just has low cooldown, but also does a ton of damage and has some decent crowd control.
Yeah, they increased the CC duration of his ultimate Fist Crack as well, so that it's able to keep enemies in place a little bit longer. And I have definitely heard of the Thunderbelt build. I know Ray Ash has been promoting it a little bit himself, and a lot of pub players have been starting to play either attack speed Badang or tank Badang in the EXP lane, since he is also an auto attack based fighter that can benefit from the changes to Rose Gold Meteor.
The Claude is going to be the option for TLID. A safer approach for sure, but gives a lot of that late game insurance. I do like the approach from Team Flash KH. Definitely, have showing some innovation that we have seen from TLID every now and then. But how is this comp from Team Flash KH going to operate this game?
The composition coming in from Team Flash is probably going to have just a little bit of difficulty, right? Hayabusa has the possibility of being invaded in the jungle pretty early on. I think the Granger can actually do pretty okay in lane since it is up against a Claude. Claude's laning phase is still a little bit lacking overall comparatively. And then besides that, I'm kind of curious how Badang will actually match up against Lucas. That is a matchup I haven't actually seen too much of yet, so I can't really say who has EXP lane priority in particular, because that'll actually determine quite a lot how the early game goes. Because if Aran gets to join invades with the Matilda Alpha, yeah, Chema doesn't get to play the game.
See, I mean, Aran did help out Fabian early. So junglers, they get almost a similar start, although for Fabian, he's going to do a full clear on the top side. You can see a potential invade coming in from Team Flash KH. Tai does see that happening, so knows where Fabian's going to have to work to plan it out, but with Oran showing up, this is going to be revitalized out from the Carmilla. So much damage in this early game. Not just from the Lucas, but also from Witty and Yehescu. They still want to chase onto the Carmilla. They blast him out, first blood for Yehescu, and Witty is going to get him out of the way with the guiding winds.
Somehow forcing out Revitalize and then still taking down Carmilla at level 1. Team Liquid ID shows that anything is possible, and that's with tenacity, by the way. If you look at the emblem set for Tai, he was supposed to be a little bit tankier too. So it's just, you would never expect that to happen. Team Flash needs to respect the early game potential of Team Liquid a little bit more. I get that Tai wants to provide vision because you gotta keep track of Fabian in this game when he has Witty around, but losing your life that early on is not a good start.
Definitely not. Fight is going to continue mid-size. Speaking about Tai, once more it's going to be gone on. Jamal with the Ogi Shadow kill, not able to collect any kill. Fabian walks away. And we talk about the Matilda damage. The Soul Bloom does hurt. So both Cray and Tai will be forced into the red and retreat once more.
Probably still one of the best case scenarios Team Flash could have asked for there. They managed to keep Tai and Cray's passive alive. They actually almost bursted down Fabian as well. So Jamal hasn't been affected too much in terms of farm speed yet, but they will end up losing priority over the turtle for this.
Team Liquid ID slowly and steadily building up that lead. Definitely not like game 1 where they were just straight up running over Team Flash KH from the first minute onwards. We did see Aran proxy that wave on the top side already. Witty is gonna bring in his teammates, Fabian to follow him. Tai will be forced to back off. But now is the scenario that you described. Chima, how are you gonna keep jungling when you have this oppression from Team Liquid ID?
Looks like the guiding winds actually ends up pulling Fabian out. Chima is gonna have to end up dragging multiple team members over just to make sure he doesn't get disrupted from farming too much. He is actually still even in level with Fabian, though maybe a bit behind in EXP. The Curse of Blood didn't quite manage to land because of the guiding wind as well. So Team Liquid still playing a very fast game that intends to hit hard as well. And it does look like Aran is winning out in that EXP lane. He seems to be having more freedom to roam the map comparatively to ATM. So that's also not the best sign for Team Flash.
Definitely not. The run, he's just gonna keep neutralizing the wave, wait for it to build up to a second cannon, and then hard shove it. With Liquid ID, they have Fabian and Witty in the vicinity as well. Not the I mean, ATM is not the easiest to gank, but it's all about being able to move around the map first. And for Ron, stacking a double wave and Witty being around, you always have that agency to move first.
And looks like we have confirmation that ATM is going for the Thunderbelt build on Badan. He just completed it. So I am very excited to see this particular build because it can be quite oppressive once he's got a couple more items. Very hard to deal with, lots of CC. Looks like Chama did actually get that buff back.
Yep, the Hesku gets it, and unfortunately, they still get the freeze. Fabian can be trapped by the wall. Fist Crab being used. Aran jumps on the crate. That's the passive out. Aran now will have to look for a way out. Witty should be able to escort him. Still in the face of 3 members of Team Flash KH without your Hesku. They gotta try and draw it out a little bit. Shadow Kill being dispersed. Fabian's bit of Alpha times it well at the end. The Shurika's not in range as Aran finds the back line. This time on the Shama, he was waiting at the quad shadows. With the help of Witty, Aran will find the kill. ATM shows up. Witty, can he pull Aran away? That's the flicker used by the Lucas to start it off. With Aran jumps back in, just pulled out to safety. And just the juggling from Team Liquid ID done in perfect synergy.
It is actually perfect synergy what we are seeing here. The way that this Lucas is being played around with the Matilda, that was cinema. Absolute cinema. It is peak. There is literally no other way to describe it. That was perfectly played, perfectly juggled in terms of aggro. Team Flash actually started the fight really well. That was an excellent fist crack into fist break combo that managed to take out Yehezkiel very early on. But then Team Liquid just kept going. Aran had so much sustain on that Lucas, and I can see why he is going for the War Axe build instead of Thunderbelt. So he's looking to brawl.
He's looking to constantly fight. You want to stack the Thunderbelt? How about I fight you? Still, Liquid ID with a close to 3k goal advantage. Witty just got the Splash of the Oasis. Only complicates matters for Team Flash KH. ATM will be found out, but as always, this in and out, I think we haven't got to see this combo between Lucas and Matilda until now, but Flash Step plus Guiding Wind is just so much in and out potential.
I'll just say right now, Lucas with almost any like supporting utility roamer is actually kind of oppressive. I have played against a Lucas Angela. You just never kill him. He's just always going to be there, especially in Sacred Beast form. The amount he heals, the amount of shield he gets, you actually have to respect it somewhat. And I'm kind of surprised I don't see more teams going in that direction. But for now, the consolation for Team Flash is they're actually not as far behind as they were in game number 1. Goal lead is still 3k though.
Tai, he definitely did not expect that damage for Fabian, who just casually gets a double kill. So 3 dead for Team Flash KH, Aeonzo, Rondos, but the timing from Witty's circling ego just nice, allowing Fabian to get a triple kill. Jamal wants to get Witty, the Shurikens will confirm it, but 4 for the price of 1.
It's still very worth it for Witty. He was tanking the tower so that he can get a free kill on Aeonzo as well as a free turtle. And I like the moment that I say Team Flash is not as behind as they were in game number 1. Oh, they almost get team wiped by Team Liquid ID. We are getting into the mid game now. 5k gold lead. Team Liquid should be all completing their second item, reaching around their third. And that is when they can really just run down Team Flash. The snowball is already in store for both Aran and Fabian. Aaron Shiki still hasn't been disrupted in the gold lane at all either. A full level ahead of Aeonzo. Team Liquid is on track to recreate their victory.
And ATM, there's the fish crack, still ends up going down to Yehezkiel. Fabian eating up all the damage. The Curse of Blood connects, but the damage is not there. Team Liquid ID just eats all of it up as Arana hops to the back line, takes out 1, and another double kill for Fabian. Team Liquid ID have finally stepped on the gas, and they are not stopping.
They're not stopping, alright. That mid-tier 2 should fall as well, unless Aeonzo is able to clear the minion waves, but he's all by himself, so it would be very risky to try and walk up. So that's going to be all the mid towers gone. Map blown wide open for Team Liquid. 9k lead in 8 minutes, once again surpassing the 1k gold advantage per minute record that would ordinarily consider a game lost.
Absolutely. Let's see if another miracle happens. We've seen glimpses of it in game 1. Not that it amounted too much, but how this has accelerated at such a fast pace. 10k goal lead. Somehow Liquid ID has been able to repeat what they achieved in game 1 in such a short period of time. And yeah, Fabian, he can do that. Curse of Blood connects though. Now the damage really is going to start to hurt. Aaron, Shiki and Witty both get blown up. That's the fist crack. Fabian fights it out and still claims the kill before he goes down. Triple kill for Aeonzo.
The fact that Fabian still gets a kill there is ridiculous, but Team Flash were able to actually punish Team Liquid there, and that was actually very well played. Fabian tried to go for the cheeky Spear of Alpha, wasn't able to connect, hoped that he would get pulled out by the Guiding Winds, but ATM came at the perfect time, caught 2 members, Aaron and Witty, inside the Fist Crack, which meant that there was no Guiding Winds for Fabian to use. Aaron Shiki was taken out, and now they're pushing in.
That and also a 4k goal swing. So Team Liquid ID just lost 4k worth of stocks because of that. All the shutdown goal. Team Flash KH able to walk out to the map, a bit further up to the map, finally. But they're still not out of the woods just yet, right? Eroshiki, yep, he did go down, so it's no longer deathless. But at the end of the day, he is still a Claude. That late game is still going to hurt.
Yeah, he is. We've already seen that Claude is capable of dishing out some pretty ridiculous damage as long as he is ahead. And Aaron Shiki is definitely ahead. Ooh, they're pulling Aran in.
Yeah, Shima, the Quad Shadow is just being tracked by the Circling Eagle. Lord goes over to TLID as the fight splits up, but it ends in an instant. 2 down for Team Flash KH.
Shima almost got Witty, but doesn't have the Sky Piercer stacks to be able to land that final blow. And because Witty dashed back into Team Liquid, Shima had no way of escape. There was no support to get him out. They just got picked off right there. Another Lord going over to Team Liquid ID. That's going to be the Malefic Gun now, completed by Aaron Shiki. This is where most marksmen really come online. Team Flash only have the Holy Defense on 2 lanes as well.
The wave synced up by TLID. So you have all 3 waves crashing in. This is just Lord number 1. So for Team Flash KH, they can defend this. The game is going to extend a bit longer. But we know TLID, they are not the ones to wait around. Almost a 9k goal lead. Just a bit of an action. Witty, 2-man knock up. That's Fabian catching 3 people into a blazing duet. Aaron Shiki, he's just gonna run down most of the members. 2 dead for Team Flash KH, and Witty keeps all of them alive. The Lord does go down, but only 3 members of Team Flash KH left alive.
Happened so quickly that Shima couldn't even build up stacks for the Ogi Shadow kill. His ult barely did any damage, and Fabian now tanking DPS so that the rest of Team Liquid can get the mid inhibitor. And there's still waves pushing on both side lanes. Team Liquid is gonna be looking for more.
Should be able to get the top inhibitor. And Team Flash KH, usually there's nothing that they could do. TLID, not done just yet. They want the bottom one. There is a cannon minion. They could definitely do that. Circling Eagle knocking on the 2. Aran unleashes the beast. They get ATM knocked up. The fist crack into a Frigid Glacier. It's just not enough. Too much damage from Aaron Shiki. Fighting Chimai, forcing the shadow kill out as Aran hops to the back. He goes down, but so does Team Flash KH. TLID trades 1 life for the entire series. It's 2-0 for TLID.
A slightly slower game than previously, but Team Liquid, when they come online, they come online. This power spike timing is very clear and very obvious, and that was a nice trick right there, sir. Props to that. Team Liquid ID definitely deserving of a spot in the upper bracket, and truly a threat in the SPS.
100%. I don't know what's the takeaway if you are Team Flash KH, because there's so many things that you kind of need to look back on. But when you look at your opponents and this TLID, this is definitely a defeat that you have to take in grace, right? There's no harm, no foul. I think a lot of people saw this coming from a mile away. Team Flash KH though will have to play the lower bracket up against Homeboys later down the road. And well, we get the EVOS Holy against TLID matchup in the upper bracket.
Yep, that is going to be a fun one, but EVO's Holy definitely going to be the underdogs there despite a very dominant performance earlier. That's just a gap that we see between Team Liquid ID and most of the competition. Looking at, yep, it was a 12-minute game, literally 1 minute longer than game number 1, which really isn't much of a difference. But let's look at the itemization. Aaron Shiki near to completion already. That last item would have been a Winter Crown, probably. And then we can see that Fabian also already complete with the Winter Crown. In the meanwhile, Flash, they really don't have much, only 2 items on most of their cores. Aeonzo trying his best to keep up, actually has a pretty respectable score, but when the rest of your team is just getting melted, there's not much you can do.
Yeah, even for Chima, he stopped the Hunter Strike and Sky Piercer and nothing more, right? Like he is almost a 5k gold difference between him and Fabian alone.
Yeah, that is something else. We already mentioned how there's a very clear boundary when you are able to get 1k gold advantage per minute, and in this series TLID was consistently breaking that boundary as well. Fabian will end up as the MVP of this game with 923 GPM. Aaron Shiki very close behind at 885.
Yeah, just again, also shout out to Witty on this Matilda. Just 100% kill participation. So at all 23 battles, you have seen Witty participate. Of course, 17 of them for TLID. But yeah, overall, I mean, Witty definitely, living up to the name, right? Witty the Wise. There's a reason he's the brains and the bronze. We talk about Matilda being one of his pocket pick, and we see it in action. But Fabian having this Matilda by his side when he's on the alpha just had a near flawless game. The only time he went down was because of that a cheeky spill of alpha over the wall, but even then he took one down with him before he fell.
Yeah, somehow. I can't deny this is probably the best Matilda gameplay I have seen in a very, very long time. The coordination and synergy between TLID is clear and on full display. And you can tell that there is that experience, there is that communication happening in every single engagement. They know what they want, and they're going to do whatever they need to do to get it. And they have the micro mechanics to pull it off too.
Yeah, and this entire series is just the pure definition of how to extend the lead, right? And this is my favorite moment, the ins and outs and between Witty and Aran. But on top of that, it's just how Liquid ID, once they find a snowball angle, they just keep on going. They feel unstoppable.
I am a little bit sad that we didn't get to see a bit more of what Badang is capable of, but the one death on Fabian was also because of a really good play by ATM, catching out Witty and Aaron Shiki behind him so that he couldn't be pulled out to safety. That was the best play that we have seen from Team Flash thus far this series, so there is potential there, but the fundamentals are still what is missing. Yup, the Curse of Blood right into the freeze, the fist crack coming out as well. It was clean. Team Flash needed more of that, but that was only because Team Liquid got a little bit trigger happy.
Yeah, Team Liquid was just messing around, and then you have this, right? Like Aaron Shiki, again, got to a point, you pick the Claude, the game goes late, you will have that insurance policy either way. So congratulations to the Cavalries, TLID 2-0 over Team Flash KH. They will have a date with EVOS Holy in the upper brackets on a later date.
Yep, and that also means that Team Flash will end up dropping over to the lower bracket. The only way that they can keep themselves in the competition will be to make it to the last chance qualifiers, but they will first have to face off against the Homeboys down there, which is not going to be the easiest battle.
Of course, we got the heat map, this time not off the jungler, but off the roamer. We got Witty the Wise on this Matilda. Of course, the majority of the time, just hanging around that mid side, a bit of the enemy jungle on the bottom quadrant of the map, just basically facilitating all the early rotations across the map.
Something that we see Team Liquid ID doing quite consistently that many other teams here in SPS aren't really willing to do a lot of the time is the jungle invasion. You can see just how present Witty was on Team Flash's half of the map, constantly pulling Fabian in, stealing jungle camps away from Chema wherever they could to slow down the Hayabusa while making it unsafe for their side laners to remain too far forward just in case the wave gets cut and they get pinned off. It is very good to be able to do this, especially if you have a powerful early game combination like the Alpha Matilda. And Team Liquid, they are masters of this.
Yeah, even when you look back at the heat map, it felt like Witty was drawing an arrow pointed straight at Team Flash KH's Crystal. So everything falling into place, TLID taking this in a more than resounding victory. It's not even close, in fact. Like I thought when we saw Onyx gave Evo's Esports a beatdown yesterday, that was peak. But no, TLID really went up that. Now it makes everyone, I think, a lot more excited to see if they will meet in the challenge finals again. And that's just halfway through. We still got 2 more best of 3s coming up.
That does conclude the first round of Group C. Now we'll be moving on to Group D, yet another new batch of teams, which are all also eyeing the chance to move on into the SPS Challenge Finals. But already, I think the M Series top performers are still looking to be the favorites for yet another tournament. I'm eager to see if there is going to be some other dark horse, like a team that just suddenly pops out of nowhere, maybe no one really expected them to do too well, and suddenly, ooh, actually, we could see something here, right? That's what happened initially with Team Liquid ID, so who knows who else could achieve similar accolades?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen some interesting tech, you know, like we witnessed the Badang XP, but I even saw Badang roam yesterday in my games, and that wasn't fun for, well, wasn't fun for me, but it's even not fun, even more not fun for the randos that I had to deal with our stack. So we'll see. I mean, if there's more of that, I do hope we get to see the continuous innovation. Though there's one hero I miss. I do miss the Diggy though. I feel like Diggy is one of the few heroes that I really want to see, but there's just no place for him.
I think I'm glad that there's no place for Diggy right now. He's still a very niche hero, and I think that's where he's supposed to be, because like Time Journey is such a powerful ultimate ability in the first place. I still remember back in the day when the Diggy feeding meta existed. Yeah, those were dark times.
So coming up, we have Group D. We're heading to Group 3. It's Bigatron Alpha against AI Esports. Speaking of the Diggy, I'm going to leave a note here. So I met a Diggy yesterday because I picked Tigreal and the enemy picked Diggy. We went on to kill him 16 times in the game. I reported him for feeding and he lost 5 points. So sorry, Diggy.
You know what? Maybe that's just how things are sometimes. You know, when you don't like a hero, you feel happy when that happens to them. But Bigatron Alpha versus AI Esports will be our next match. Once again, we'll jump to a break, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll come back with more SPS MLBB action.
You waited all night for me to come back. Oh, why'd you think that it's not alright? Told you that I'm not that type. Didn't mean to get you so excited. Tried to tell you not to fall in love. Why you always hit me uninvited? Was hoping you would get the picture. I've had enough. Now it's time for me to turn around. Thought you knew what this was. Yeah, I am superstar. You were never the one for me. Never should have fell for me. Take back your heart. Why don't you take it back? You never had a chance. I'm gonna take back the one heart. Call it a savage love, just till I had enough of us. I'm good, babe. I'm on my own. This ain't a phase. Just let me go. Told you that I'm not that type. Don't wanna waste and ride. Begging for one more chance. Yeah, know you got carried away. Ooh, you made me to say you've been messing with greatness. Faces, stay in your place. I was looking to play, then you got in the way. All the love that we made got me stuck on your brain. Got no time to stay here and say goodbye. Yeah, I am superstar. You were never the one for me. Never should have fell for me. Take back your heart. Why don't you take it back? You never had a chance. I'm gonna take back the one heart. Call it a savage love, just till I had enough of us. Take back your heart. Yeah.
for the final few teams here at the SPS Challenge season to make their debut as we kick off our Group D Round 1 matches with Bigatron Alpha from Indonesia versus AI Esports from Myanmar. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, your casters today are me, Mustafa, as well as Husky.
It's going to be interesting overall because we have, in Mirko's words, the best team in the world, Bigatron Alpha, taking on AI Esports, which we have seen. I think AI Esports, even in last season, was already here, putting up quite a show. And this also is Group D. I think it's one of the more open groups, one of the more free-for-all-esque kind of group, you know, aside from Aurora and Toda, but we've also seen them showing some signs of weaknesses throughout their journey last year. So if there's any time for an upset, I think this is one of the series.
Indeed. AI Esports. Not really a name that would have crossed many people's minds before this, but their performance in the Open Finals has been actually very, very strong overall. They were even able, I believe, to take the series against RQ Hoshi. Yep. They've taken series against RQ Hoshi. They took a game against Evo's Holy. But this time, they are up against Bigatron Alpha, which of course is a much more familiar name in the MLBB ecosystem.
Absolutely. And of course, Bigatron Alpha, we got Luke in the XP, we got Tiozi, Jungle, Moreno, mid, Pamela in the roam role, and Emman in the goal lane. And of course, Bigatron Alpha, I think a lot of people were wondering what's gonna happen in terms of the roster. Well, we don't know either, but let's see if these two secretly locked characters is going to give that level up that Bigatron Alpha has been desperately needing.
It's a very interesting choice by Bigatron Alpha here because a lot of teams who have switched around their roster have of course already shown us who the new players are, and we can look forward to seeing how their synergy will match up. But in this case, Bigatron Alpha, these are two names that I don't think we've really heard before. I'm not sure if it's the real IGN, if it's like a different player we've never seen before, if it's actually a player who's hiding their identity. We have no idea. The rest, of course, we know, and I'm glad to see Eman once again. It's been a while since I've gotten to cast one of his games, and Bigatron does have a fun play style, but with new players, it's going to be interesting to see how they take on AI Esports today.
Yeah, and AI Esports also no strangers to the Myanmar region. We've seen them a couple of times. We've seen them in last season in SPS, but we got Madzi in the XP lane, PS in the jungle, Oh My Jenny mid lane, Black as the roam, and we got Alita in that gold lane. Some of them did play in the Myanmar qualifiers for M6. I think they finished 4th place. So overall, they fell short. I think Oh My Jenny, I think PS played in the qualifiers, but overall I think AI Esports have always kind of shown us what they're capable of. Now it's about how far can they take it.
AI Esports started off the journey in the Open Finals pretty strong. They actually did take down Lazy Esports in the 0-0 bracket. Then they moved on to the 1-0 bracket and had a little bit more difficulty as they ended up losing the Alter Ego. But then they were able to take down Vampire X Chaos, move on to even defeat Smart Omega, as well as RRQ Hoshi. So even if they're not a team that we've seen a lot on the international stage, their achievements cannot be downplayed here at the Snapdragon Pro Series. This is genuinely a team that could give a difficult time to even NPL ready squads.
Absolutely. I mean, they've drawn blood from some of the top teams in the world, so not going to be any surprise that that AI Esports is here to put up a fight. And I think even in terms of like predicting this series, for me, is probably one of the hardest ones today, especially when we talk about a team like Bigatron Alpha.
Yeah, like I had a lot of difficulty figuring out what I would predict for this game in particular. But if we're talking about Bigatron Alpha in general, this is a team that is finding redemption. They had previously finished as runner-up during the Season 3C finals, but were not able to place at all during the Season 5 challenge season. So now that they're back in Snapdragon, They want to show that, okay, not placing in Season 5, that's our bad. This time we're coming back stronger, we're coming back revamped. You know, we've got some new players that haven't yet been unlocked, like video games where you just see the silhouette when the character hasn't been achieved yet. How will they perform, I wonder?
Yeah, I do wonder. I mean, if they can surprise us, this is probably the time, right? We've seen some talents, some new talents kind of demonstrate their capabilities in previous SPS, so this could be one of them. I want to take a look at the predictions though, because this one, I still feel like, from what I know from these two teams, I think Bigatron Alpha
that with a brand new revamp, we could be seeing a very different team. So I'm still gonna give it to them. Maybe a little bit, give Mirko a bit of a hand as well. If he's watch partying this right now, hello Mirko. This is for you.
Yeah, and I definitely think that you know what? I know for a fact that the chat, Mirko's chat, is going to be speculating who they are, and I have a feeling that Mirko is going to join in, and they're going to try to match the silhouette to the people. I don't know. It's just a gut feeling. His chat is pretty active in figuring this out. Again, if these players are existing pros, then so be it, right? Because I personally don't know who they are, so I'm waiting to be surprised.
I mean, they could just be new players entirely, right? Like you could try to match the silhouette to an existing player, but it might genuinely just be someone new, you know? It could be someone new, it could be someone old, we have no idea. Bigatron is specifically keeping them a secret, I guess, for next season of MPL, so that's pretty hype.
Yeah, well, actually, I think that probably is going to be the plan. I do know that there are a lot of revelations happening in other MPL regions. MPL ID has been getting a lot of hot news, so that itself is going to be interesting. You know, Bigatron Alpha has always been a team that has shown a lot of potential, and you know, they even had runs in group stage in regular seasons where it looked like they are going to just dominate all the way. It's just that playoffs run that they haven't been able to fully complete.
I mean, they got pretty close this time around, right? They were third place finishes in MPL ID Season 14. This close to qualifying straight to the M Series. So that's a little bit heartbreaking. I'm sure they're looking for that as motivation to go even further this time around. And maybe if they go far enough, we might even get to see them in the finals in Johor, which we might get to see you guys at as well if you guys go and grab some tickets right now. I've heard that they're available all the way down from only RN5. So links right down there, QR codes right down there. Get to it.
Yeah, and it's going to be happening at the Persada Johor International Convention Center, right? So keep that in mind. When you show up, just know that you're in for a good time. I know some people have came to the MPL NY playoffs. That happened in a different location in Johor. But imagine watching a tournament with not just local teams, international teams. It kind of feels like a mini MSC without the Western regions or Central Asia region in Johor. We don't get that often.
Yeah, we really don't, but I'm happy to see more of it, right? Our playoffs recently was really hype in Johor, so I have no doubt that SPS is going to be even more hype since we've got so many different teams from all over the world, and we still don't really know who exactly we're going to see there either. So, fingers crossed, your favorites will make it all the way through. And the tickets are limited, so if you guys want to get him, you guys have to do it as early as possible.
Yeah, 5 ringgit, man. 5 ringgit. Worst come to worst, give up a plate of noodles for this, alright? But get it for a good time. I know that last season, even in KL, it was basically a full house, so who knows, right? We got a bigger venue this time, I think. And if you missed last season, just come for this season. Like people loved the place, or so I heard. People loved the environment, so just keep the train going, right? Keep SPS going.
Yeah, let's keep it going with even more entertainment, even more epic gameplay, even more pro plays. Bigatron Alpha versus AI Esports is going to be an interesting one because AI Esports, I think, is one of the teams that if we had any dark horses starting to build up in SPS, I would consider them to be the ones, right? They've already surprised us multiple times. I think Myanmar is similarly a region that always surprises us in the MLBB scene. You never know when suddenly a new team comes out of there that just absolutely dominates everything and finishes in a very high standing. Whereas Bigatron Alpha is a little bit more familiar, but with new faces that we don't know yet.
Yeah, I think if this run goes well for Bigatron Alpha, maybe we'll get that grand reveal earlier than expected. But I can understand the sentiment if it's someone we know, they don't want to reveal it yet. That's fine as well. You know, to each their own. At the end of the day, if you want to be the best team, you gotta always be prepared to take on anyone, regardless of whether you've seen them before or not.
I am excited. I'm very curious what kind of drafts we're going to see, what kind of gameplay we're going to see, right? AI Esports during the Open Finals definitely had a bit of a distinct style to them, but was also capable of adjusting on the fly based on what opponents threw at them. So I think that is already the mark of a pretty solid team overall that is actually capable of standing toe-to-toe with a lot of the top teams here in SBS. Bigatron Alpha were able to achieve something quite monumental, getting all the way to third place in MPL the last season. So they're definitely not a team to underestimate, even if they may have had their ups and downs in the past. So similarly, I think there's a certain status to this matchup where whoever gets to go through is going to be able to really reel in that community respect from the SBS crowd.
Yeah, I do wonder what flavor is AI Esports going to bring to this tournament. I think last season it was either them or CFU that took a game off of TLPH. I know CFU did. AI Esports, not entirely sure. But for Bigatron Alpha, I've always been a big fan of like Eman, right? Like Eman and Luke, especially even when Luke was back in the Geek Fam era, he has always kind of been on my radar. So I want to look at the XP lane and how far has Luke come, because he's been a solid setter back when Terizla was a big thing, and right now we kind of shifted away from that a little bit, but I still have faith in this guy.
Yeah, Luke is a very fun player to watch. Eman, I have definitely been keeping an eye on him ever since like the first MSC I casted, where at the time when he was with RSG Philippines, ended up coming on top, and I believe he got finals MVP too, so definitely a defining moment during my career. So still a player that I remember fondly to this day. I'm excited. I want to see what they have to bring to the table, and of course, I'm sure there's many fans out there cheering for them, many of Mirko's fans as well. AI Esports, on the other hand, comes from a region that has earned the respect of the entire MLBB fan base time and time again. Will they be another competitor that wants to, maybe take the slot away from Falcon, right?
Yeah, I mean, Falcons did put the entire region on the map in the recent M6 run, right? I mean, they did eventually fall short because they unfortunately had to fight off against Fnatic on the Philippines, and then the lower bracket wasn't too kind to them in the grand scheme of things when we head down into the knockouts. But still, overall, they took down NIP Flash, and I think that was one of the bigger upsets when we were in knockouts. So let's see if AI Esports can kind of ride off that wave and that what Falcons has set and carry it forward. Bigatron Alpha against AI Esports kicking off right now. Game 1 draft underway. Yves, Luoyi, Harif, Zusin, and Fanny banned out.
I'm just kind of wondering, right? Considering that we get to see the camera into like the gaming rooms, how does Bigatron intend to like hide these two specific players' identities, right? Are they just going to be strategically out of frame or something? Like that's what I want to see.
Yep. Let's see the first pick though. I mean, the first pick, if the Granger doesn't get banned, we also have the Joy. So it's all about picking a poison if you are AI Esports, right? Like who are they willing to kind of like let it through?
It is a good question. Joy, Suyo, Granger, all still open. AI Esports, they can choose which one they don't want to deal with, and it looks like it is going to be the Joy. They're basically giving Bigatron the choice of like, do you want Suyo, do you want Granger? Whichever you grab, we're gonna go for the other. But I still do think that Suyo is just generally a more universal pick, right? If AI does grab Granger, you can just go to Iritel again. or even like switch up into Bruno instead. We've already seen how powerful the hero can be. And yep, Suyo is going to be the lock-in for Bigatron.
Yeah, very straightforward. So there's still the Matilda Alpha that we saw from TLID, but they need to go for the Granger first, and don't really need the Alpha this early on. Phoveus as the second pick too.
I think it's pretty safe to pick Phoveus in this position because like his direct counter, which is the glue, if Bigatron locks it in now, AI just goes for like Fervis or Vexana, and that wouldn't end up very well. So AI Esports feels very comfortable going for this since they can just ban out glue in the second phase. Bigatron goes for Hilda as well as Farsa to be able to match up the artillery of Rangers somewhat. But now the Hayabusa comes in, and he is definitely going to be eyeing this Farsa for those sweet, sweet Ogi shadow kills.
Yeah, definitely. But I think and then AI Esports also needs to find a way to keep this Hayabusa safe from the Hilda, which Bigatron Alpha does have in their arsenal, right? Starts with this phase 2 ban. You're still looking for that gold lane and a potential roam, in fact, from the side of Bigatron Alpha. We're not really sure where this Hilda is going to head towards yet. We've seen some pretty some variations. The roam is also a role that she can go into. Irritel Bando, that's the one that you pointed out, a counter to Granger.
They're not gonna give that over to Bigatron. Eman does definitely have a pretty notable hero pool, right? I still remember that he was known for playing Beatrix back in the day. I don't doubt that he would be able to pull out something like the Bruno. The Harif unfortunately is banned out as well, so some of the more classic solutions to Granger are no longer available, and that could be a slightly concerning thing. But Bigatron has also been paying attention to how the matches have been going so far, and they're not going to give away the Sicilian for AI Esports to play for that late game scaling backline siege comp.
Yeah, we've seen the Granger Sicilian earlier today as well. I think it was by Evo's Holy, so once the game goes late, it does start to become a bit of a headache. Cho banned by AI Esports, you kind of want to limit the catch potential. Maybe Bigatron Alpha, if they want to clamp down on that mid lane, there is definitely going to, there's still chances where they go for something like a Vex Rora ban. No, they go for the Hylos ban.
Yeah, I think you don't really need to ban the Vex or Aurora when you're playing again. Like when you're playing Farsa, the ones that you have to be the most worried about are usually Sicilian as well as Lo Yi, right? Because these are the ones that can outrange you or play in a slightly separate style. Vex and Aurora are both very honest mages that Farsa can handle somewhat well. AI Esports now can be looking for their roamer as well as their mid lane. I think you would probably want to go for your mid lane first since you already know who the opponent is going to be.
Yeah, I think keep the roamer for last, just to see, just to get the full scope of BTR's draft first. But in this case, yeah, so they go for the Aurora. I just feel like one of the better options overall. What?
Aurora! Ooh, I do like the Jawhead. That does have very strong invade potential.
Yep. The Moskov too. If you want to talk about a backline dive, an aggressive comp that can keep going, I think we're looking at one right now. Moskov, Jawhead, Hilda, Suyo.
But a dive composition can also be somewhat vulnerable to Aurora and Phoveus, right? Because these are two heroes that actually want you to run at them somewhat. So Bigatron will need to play around that, but with Hilda and Jawhead, the Hayabusa actually has to really watch out. This is 100% a level 1 jungle invade composition. You need something that can handle that, and I think Tigreal is a very good solution. I hope it's enough, because like level 1 on Jawhead and Hilda is so oppressive.
Oh yeah, and you know, and AI only has kind of like one main engaged tool, which is the Tigreal. Right, and we've seen that I think with Edoc yesterday for RQ Hoshi, where you're relying a lot on that Tigreal. Honestly, Bigatron Alpha not the easiest team to catch to with the heroes that they have. So let's hop into game 1 just a little bit and see how this is gonna play out. I mean, BTR again the favorites to win, but I know AI Esports. I'm looking to see if they can at least draw some blood from their robots.
And well, I did wonder how Bigatron would be able to hide there, but turns out we just don't really get to see what's going on there. So the secret is still there, but if you're talking about robots, I think AI kind of falls under that margin as well. So it is a battle of the robots right now on the land of Dawn, with Bigatron Alpha on the blue side versus AI Esports on the red, and looks like rather than invading, Bigatron is focusing more on just completely farming TOZ up as soon as possible.
Nice. Once it hits level 3, we've seen a lot of off-tempo plays from current assassins, right? Especially Joy and Suyo. More to Suyo, who just unlocks his whole kit by then. Let's see if there's any opportunities for that. Mid lane seems to be stagnant for mid laners, clearing their way pretty fast. A bit of a scout on the bot side by Luke, and it's gonna try and save that camp. 40 over after Little Wanderer. It's gonna set him up to hit level 4 at a very fast pace.
Hilda and Jawhead is going to be very effective at just picking people off alongside the Barca as well, while AI Esports probably leans a little bit closer into teamfight style since they're going to be playing around Tigreal and Aurora. For that reason, AI had hold on.
They're gonna get the toss back onto Black. That's first blood going over to Pamela. Moreno eats the shadow kill, ends up going down, but the pin from Eman and PS will be sliced to ribbons by TOZ, 2 for Bigatron Alpha.
Still very worth it for Bigatron Alpha. They're able to pick off the enemy jungler on top of taking Black out of the equation so that they can get the turtle more easily, and all they had to do was trade Moreno for it, and he should still be able to make it back in lane in time to actually hit level 4. So no real harm done. Bigatron definitely coming out on top in that one. And I was about to say that AI slightly more priority over objectives, but if Pamela just goes throws Black back into his team, then they